hii ndio iliyoko tayari, sasa ndio tunaifanyia hiyo last process ili iende sokoni. Kama vile mnavyoona ni grading tunafanya, au ni mojawapo ya wale wanunuzi ndio wanafanya uchambuzi ambao tunaita grading. Kutoka hapa ndio inaelekea sokoni moja kwa moja. Kama vile mnaona, tuseme iliyoko tayari ni ambayo iko hapa ndio tunaita grade 1, iko na grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 inafika hapo na ndio yenyewe inaonekana hivyo. Kutoka hapo sasa ni moja kwa moja mpaka sokoni, na ukiangalia yenyewe inaonekana ni mazao mazuri, yanapendeza, na ni kama vile tulivyosema ni kwamba tunafanya job creation kwa watu wengi. Hao ni watu tofauti tofauti ambao wanaenda sokoni, kuna wale wanaotoka shambani wanaovuna, wanaendelea kuvuna, ndio hali ilivyo hivyo sasa.
Upon maturity, tomatoes require to be harvested at least once a week, as Njeru shares with us.
Tuseme wakati wa harvesting au muda wa kuvuna, tunafuna mara 2 kwa wiki. Kulingana na zao lenyewe, haliwezi likapitiza siku 3-4. Ni siku 2, siku ya 3 unafuna. So ina depend, ni mara 2 kwa wiki.
In preparation to the next planting season, a farmer should have a timeline to dispose of the aging crops.
Kulingana na vile utakuwa umekuza mmea wenyewe, unaenda ukafuna, unaweza ukafuna hata miezi 2. Kulingana na vile utakuwa umetunza mmea wako.
We take a tour in the farm to determine just how much space is required from one plant to the next.
Okay, hali ya spacing katika huu mmea ni kuanzia fiti moja au fiti 2, kulingana na vile mazao yanakuwa. Ili uweze kupata mazao mazuri, ni vizuri kuweka spacing nzuri ili hata wakati wa kuweka mbolea isichomane, ili iweze kula mbolea vizuri. Fiti 1.5 mpaka fiti 2, hiyo inakuwa nzuri, ndio spacing ile nzuri katika kupata mazao ya mmea.
We need to understand what is good crop husbandry, and we need to understand how to be able to nurture our crops, especially tomatoes, in the best way possible to get maximum production output. As I said before earlier, that we need to be able to start nurturing at the nursery level, building the immune system of the crop. We need to understand how we have to be able to build the resilience. Every crop or every plant has an immune system. We need to be able to understand that so that we can be able to adapt those crops into the harsh weather patterns that are ever changing. And that is what a farmer needs to do, to be able to start nurturing at the nursery level. This is key principle to get maximum benefits from the farmer.
In an age where there is a rise in lifestyle diseases, some of which are linked to excessive use of chemicals, the demand for organic products is insatiable, hence creating a market for organic pesticides. Nicholas Njoroge is an innovator for agricultural organic pesticides and tells us more.
We need to understand that good crop husbandry covers various stages of every plant. And a farmer needs to be able to be consistent in actually starting from the nursery level. That plays a very crucial and key role in being able to get maximum production output at the end of the secondary level. Number 1, a farmer needs to understand that any crop or plant that starts well at the nursery level will give them a maximum production output. Number 1, you need to understand that each plant and crop has an immune system. You need to start building the immune system of the crop or plant at the nursery level, and at the same time to be able to to be able to understand the climatical patterns of your area, so that you can be able to nurture that crop to be able to be resilient to that kind of patterns of the weather. Number 2, each crop and plant suffers stress and shock. You need to understand that if you are unable to practice good agricultural practices, you succumb that crop to stress and shock. That means minimizing your cost to even going at a loss. So tomatoes have been is a sensitive crop, and we need to be able to understand this in the sense that you be able to nurture this in a way that it's supposed to be, so that it can give you the maximum production output at the end. So we need to be able to understand this. A farmer needs to be able to understand the smart climatical agricultural practices. The farmer needs to understand the good agricultural practices, that's GAP, and be able to apply the Asberg principle of farming, which is very key. And that's what actually Felix has done on his farm, and is actually reaping his bumper harvest as we speak. Nowhere else, like I said, nowhere in Mwea is harvesting tomatoes. It's only in my client's farm. And I think that is very, very important for a farmer to be able to understand.
Early diagnosis and treatment of pests and diseases eliminates the risk of incurring losses for farmers. Nicholas has information to share on how this can be achieved.
Normally, tomatoes suffer when we have something called blight. There's tomato blight. That is, when the plant is actually growing, you need to be able to look at the signs of some black spots. That normally those are blight, because that actually burns the tomatoes. Tomatoes are very sensitive. Once you see this, you need to be able to put preventive measures. Rather, I normally advise farmers, put preventive measures than curative. Do not wait until when you see those black spots appearing at the nursery stage of your tomato, because that will mean now you have to start looking for the curative measures, which actually ends up giving you another expense of high dosage of trying to cure the product. So rather apply the preventive measures from the beginning until the maturity of the crop. Normally tomatoes takes 3 months, but actually you need to be able to put those preventive measures through and through until maturity of the crop, because blight normally attacks the tomatoes at any time, at anywhere, and that can be a huge loss to the farmer. Okay?
A little while back, the country experienced high rainfalls. For tomatoes farmers, this meant slim chances of saving the entire population of plants. Njeru's farm is among those that survived this ordeal.
Katika mbei ikiwa yote hivi tunauza kwa 70 to 80 per kgs. Kutoka hapa inaelekea sokoni moja kwa moja. Soko ni mingi kutokulingana na weather yenyewe vile ilivyo. Zao lenyewe ni hadimu kwa muda. Kutoka hapa inaelekea sokoni mpaka Nairobi, nyingine Thika, nyingine inaenda Garissa. Zao lenyewe ndio hili hapa. Na inaenda na grading. Hapa kulingana na vile mnaona hii kazi ni grading tunafanya. Hii ni ile tunaita grade 1. Kulingana na vile mnaona hawa wanunuzi wanafanya, kuna grade 1. Tukitoka kwa hii grade 1 tunaenda kwa grade 2. Grade 3 ndio ya mwisho. Tukienda kwa grade 2 ndio hii hapa. Grade 2 ndio hii hapa, inaonekana ni nzuri, inapendeza. Kutoka hapa kwa grade 3 tunaenda kwa grade 2 tunaenda kwa grade 3 ambao ndio hii hapa. Na wanaendelea kufanya hiyo grading kulingana na vile ilivyo. Na vile kuna ile ambao inaonekana tunaita ni reject, lakini hiyo hapa haipo. Hapa inaenda grade 3, 1, 2, 3 mpaka moja kwa moja mpaka sokoni. Mazao yenyewe ndio haya.
There are some areas that actually soaks a lot of water that actually is not ideal for the tomatoes. However, one needs to be able to understand, to know areas where you can be able to plant various tomatoes and the climate pattern so that actually you can benefit. I wouldn't advise, and I don't think I'd even dare advise a farmer to start planting tomatoes in Kinangop, because it won't work. But you need to be able to look in the tropical areas, even if it is for hire, even if it is for lease. Look for areas that are tropical, that actually is ideal for tomato planting, even if the weather patterns decide to be cruel or harsh. And then number 2, for those areas that you feel, you see that there's not adequate water, kindly see how best you can be able to get irrigation water to start planting, because irrigation water is enough to make sure that you get good returns for your money as a farmer.
That is all we had for you on Get It Right. Stay tuned for more informative programs.